Static Wool posted a night design challenge on Instagram, and I've never designed a night before, so I think it's time we change that. Okay, when I started this design, I really didn't know where I wanted to go with it. All I know about nights are that they got all these bits and bobs on them, and they're mainly made of metal. So, like every other artist, I opened up Pinterest and started my research. With my amazing luck, or maybe Pinterest is just spying on me, there was a post with 3 sword designs, one of them being of like lightning. That one actually gave me an angelic or light magic kind of vibes, so I immediately knew where I wanted to take this knight. So, for his outfit, I think there are like 3 pieces that really stuck out to me, and that would be the shoulder pads, helmet, and his little quilt thingy that he's wearing. I actually found this post that showed off a few different shoulder pad variations knights would wear, and I decided to go with the shape just because I thought it was a pretty nice shape. And I thought about adding more details and giving them like a really detailed suit, but since I've never designed a knight in my life, I decided to, maybe just take it easy at first. I could always include more details in future iterations of his design if I really wanted to. But okay, for the helmet, I mainly copied a helmet from a design I found since I thought it was a nice design. The main difference is the feather. I was debating whether to give him a halo or a feather, and I'm honestly not sure which idea would have been better. I went with the feather, and let's ignore the fact that I don't seem to know what a feather looks like, but I'm not sure if I prefer a halo instead of the feather. A feather seems like a very more traditional knightly kind of design, but I think a halo could have been a more unique addition instead. I don't know, I might explore both of the ideas more in the future. I'm kind of split down the middle on it. I haven't really decided. And lastly, the little quilt thing, I noticed on quite a few knight designs that they're wearing like some sort of cloth design either under or over their armor. Actually, it seems to mainly be over their armor for some reason, but this one design I had made it look more like a quilt, and I actually really like that for some reason. I thought it looked super cool. So I knew I wanted the chest plate to be visible because I wanted to add a little sun logo to it, so instead I had the quilted cloth appear from underneath it and peek out above it. Where his legs are, the cloth kind of covers that area, and then up in his neck it kind of creates a little shield thing around his neck. I don't know, maybe it's laced with like some sort of magic that helps keep that area around him more protected. I think that could be kind of a cool idea. I think mixing magic into his lore somewhere could be really neat. I'm not sure where, but I'm thinking through his clothes like this, and then also probably through his weapon. That being said, let's talk about the weapon. For the weapon, I was definitely inspired by the original lightning sword I found that kicked off this whole design, so I knew I wanted to go somewhere in that direction. I also wanted it to have very much sun or like light vibes, so for the like hilt of the sword, I made sure to give it a sun as a center design. I'm not sure how clear or obvious it is, but it is supposed to look like a sun or maybe like a bright light kind of thing. I didn't know what to put in the center design, but I did end up just adding some sort of gem to just kind of fill up the space. And besides that, there's nothing fancy with the actual sword itself. I just kind of went with your typical little sword design. But I will say at the time, I thought my lines lined up, but yeah, after finishing it, I realized that they in fact do not line up, and it's also not even long enough to be placed where it's currently placed, but it's okay. Let's just pretend that it's all lined up and proper and I made no mistakes. I was actually debating whether to color this page in with alcohol markers or acrylic markers, and I almost went with acrylic markers but ended up going with some alcohol markers instead, and honestly, I think it turned out great. I just went with the standard cool gray for the middle. I thought about using a more light color to give it more like angelic vibes, but I didn't have a light enough gray to match my vision, so I just stuck with this darker one instead, for now at least. For this design, I knew I wanted to keep it 3 to 4 colors. This is actually a pretty good range of colors to use when you're designing a character. And I knew the gray would be the main color since, the entire outfit is mainly just metal. But from there, I wanted a few accent colors. Since he has a light theme, I went with a really light yellow color for the quilt, feather, and sword handle. I actually think this ohuhu marker I used, I think it's called Y2. maybe? I'll double check that. But I'm pretty sure it's called white too. It was the perfect shade of yellow that I was thinking about in my head. For his feather, I messed with the idea of the feather blending into more like a white color. I also thought about going with blue, but I thought that the blue would be too strong. It would stick out too much. So instead, I just stuck with a white and yellow gradient, and I actually really like it. I want to mess with gradients in my designs more. I think they actually look really neat. But anyways, the last color I used was a blue on the sword. I only added it to the gem in the very bottom of the sword, which I guess is now also a gem. I wanted to try to mix in the blue somewhere else in his design, but I honestly didn't know where to put any of it, so at least for now, the blue is only in this one. Okay, for the rest of the page, I knew I wanted to go for like a game theme with stats, but also keeping a medieval feel. So I added a scroll and banner where I wrote out his name, class, and stats. I actually used this copic marker Ash Rose I normally use for skin, but it worked out great for the page color. For his name, I just went with Sir Silas Brightword. I feel like knights are always called Sir at the start of their name, or at least the accomplished ones do. And Brightword is just a nod to his light and angelic theme he has going on, so I feel like it suits him. I didn't give him any kind of shield. I don't know, I thought about it, but like, I'm not sure if he'd have a shield. I'm thinking maybe he'd use his free hand to cast like magic. Like I said, I think mixing magic into his character somewhere would be cool, so I wanted to leave room in his design to mess with that idea in the future. Oh, wait, okay, so he does have a shield, but the shield is made of magic, so it just appears and disappears as he needs it. Yes, okay, I like this idea. Okay, so he does have a shield, it's just made of magic, so it's only there when he needs it to be there. But okay, anyways, that's it. I'm actually really glad I decided to do this challenge. Designing a knight was actually a lot of fun and is great practice for my webcomic, or my future webcomic, because my future webcomic will have knights in the backgrounds and stuff, so I definitely need to figure them out eventually. But yeah, maybe I'll sneak them into my webcomic somewhere. So maybe when that comes out, you should read it and see if you spot them anywhere. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let's ignore that his hands are too small. I always make my hands too small. It's really annoying. But did you guys also take part in this challenge? And if you did, let me know what your design looks like. And if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe for more and give it a like, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.